Hello, welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. Today I wanted to talk about Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I read this book quite some time ago. So it is a dystopian sci-fi novel, and that's not my usual preferred reading. And in fact, I never would have read this if it hadn't been for a school assignment. I should say school assignment, but we were reading this in school, so I read it and very much enjoyed it. Anyway, that being said, so this is an older book. It was published in 1932 and very much a dystopian future. So the world is divided into seven, if I remember right, 7 zones, and each zone has a world controller at the head of it. The whole of society and everything in it is structured around consumerism, technology, and basically making the populace happy. And there are various ways that they do it, like a drug called soma is one. You basically, anytime you start feeling negative emotions, you take soma, and it is it's a futuristic thing, so the drug makes you feel happy, but it doesn't have the side effects of addictive narcotics. So you can take it with impunity, makes you feel good, and you get that buzz, so you forget about all the negative stuff. On top of that, society is highly structured, and it has a very rigid caste system. You cannot physically move from one caste to another. It's impossible because everybody is engineered to fit into their caste. And so, for instance, the alphas who are at the top, the reason they're at the top is because they're basically geniuses. And those who are betas, who are just under the alphas, they don't have the intellect to be an alpha. And it goes down until you have the epsilons who are at the bottom. There's alphas, betas, gammas, deltas, and epsilons. And the epsilons are the labor class. And they are bred to have very dull intellects, very easily controlled, and very physically able to do their jobs. So the rest of society kind of rests on them, but they don't care because they can't think beyond their station. And in fact, they are perfectly happy with the different options for entertainment and things in their lives because they don't know any better and they can't think beyond what they know. So they're happy with the drugs. They're happy with the other forms of virtual entertainment and stuff that is available. It's kind of interesting. One of the things that they talk about are feelies. They're movies that allow you to have the sensations of the people that are up on the screen. We haven't quite got there yet. So, yeah. Anyway, one of the alphas that the story revolves around is, his name is Bernard Marx. Marx after the Marxist thinker. Anyway, Bernard is an alpha, and he's not very happy with his lot in life. It's one of the interesting things about the alphas. They're basically the geniuses of society, and so they do have the capability to think beyond their position in society, and they are... even though they're conditioned to appreciate their society and their position in it, they do have the capacity to think in abstract thought and to see beyond what is their limited space in the world. So he's unhappy. On top of that, he is not... I mean, the alphas are both... mentally gifted, but they're also physically superior specimens. So they are the Adonises of society, if you will. And Bernard's not happy because while he is a genius, he has that high intellect, he's shorter than most alphas, and he is not as highly looked upon as the other alphas. However, he still enjoys his position in society. He's just not very satisfied with his lot in life. I mean, there's a couple other things like, if somebody approaches you for a one-night stand, and it's very much a free love society, it's very much considered bad manners to turn them down, so you sleep with whoever you want. And so he has no shortage of bedfellows, if you will. And it's just that he knows that people kind of look down on him because he's not as handsome as the other people. And there's even rumors that go around that some alcohol was put into his I'm trying to remember what they call it. It's basically an incubation chamber because there is no fertility in their society. You can't actually have children the natural way. All babies are grown in jars, basically, and they're grown on it. They're basically produced in an assembly line. One of the interesting things about the society is that crosses that used to signify Christianity, the tops have been cut off, so it looks like a giant T, and their religion has been converted from whatever it was to a worship of Henry Ford, who used the assembly line to create cars. And so they have this mentality where, they're looking up to Ford as a god in their society. And so even the children are basically created in these kind of assembly lines. Now, there's a rumor going around that some alcohol was leaked into his incubation chamber as he was developing, and that's why he's different than the rest of the alphas. Anyway, he invites a beta. Her name is Lenina Crown, to go with him to a reservation. So for the most part, society is highly structured, and you have these but you have these reservations where people have opted. I shouldn't say it that way. What it is there are certain primitive tribes that still long time ago opted out of society, and they still maintain these areas and live their way of life. So he ends up going to one of these reservations with this beta. And when they get to the reservation, they meet a savage named John. John, his mother was named Linda, and Linda got pregnant. Now, Linda was actually a member of this highly structured dystopian society, and her boyfriend, or I shouldn't say boyfriend, her romantic partner, it's not even right either, because there was no attachment to them. They're just having a casual encounter, but they decided to go off on this holiday together to a reservation. They get there, and he abandons her because he knows it's his child and he doesn't want the scandal, and so he abandons her at this reservation where she gives birth, and then she basically she doesn't even raise John, because that's not how their society is created. Their society is basically free of all entanglements of any kind. You don't have attachments to anyone or anything. But John grows up with people who do have these attachments, and he learns a lot of things through Shakespeare. In fact, he quotes several times different Shakespeare passages. So he has this. They encounter John, And Bernard realizes that one of his rivals was the one that dropped this lady off and brings her back to civilization with her son John. And from there, you get this where John is now trying to fit into this and find out about this new society that it's even hard to say that he should have been part of, because if his mother had remained in that society, it's not entirely sure what would have happened to her son. But it then becomes, Bernard basking in this adulation from people who are fascinated with John, and so he has this momentary pickup from the doldrums that his life had become, and then you have John, who is fascinated by all this technology and everything that's going on around him, but he can't understand this society because he wants to make attachments. He's attracted to this beta, and the beta is attracted to him, Lenina, but she wants to have the typical, free love relationship with John, but John wants to have what would be considered a traditional relationship with her, but she can't think in those terms. She can't even behave in that way. And John can't behave in the way that she expects. So there's a lot of tension there. Anyway, I very much enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the juxtaposition between this highly ordered society that valued control and that valued happiness over everything. Just we are seeing some of that in our society right now. We are a very consumer driven society, very much into instant gratification, which is very much what this society thrives on. It's if you want something, you have it right then. There's no concept of delayed gratification whatsoever. If you even start to think of like, I won't be happy unless I have this thing, but I can't have this thing until later, you take soma and that goes away. So yeah, it's an interesting, thought experiment. What would our society be like if we had this kind of mentality? And we can kind of see how that is playing out in our current society right now. Anyway, that being said, I did very much enjoy Brave New World. I can't say that this was a book that people are going to read multiple times. Maybe there are, maybe they're not. But for me, I read it once. I really loved it. I still have it. It's on my bookshelf. I hope someday to come around and really want to read it again, but it is highly, highly depressing and very much kind of one of those things where it's holding up a mirror to society and you're thinking, ugh, this is kind of ugly. So that being said, let me know what you thought of it. If you've read Brave New World, let me know if you think this might be up your alley and you want to read Brave New World. As always, like, subscribe, share, all that other stuff, and I hope to see you next time, and enjoy what you're reading.